Brooklyn Independent Television.
Focused on producing and teaching experimental theater that provides a strong voice for social change, the Irondale Ensemble project plays an important role in the cultural growth of Fort Greene. We had the pleasure of sitting down with the executive and artistic directors of the company to discuss their long, progressive 25-year history.
We are at the Irondale Center in Fort Greene, which is created out of the old Lafayette Avenue Presbyterian Church Sunday School. I'm the executive director of the Irondale Ensemble project, and Irondale is a permanent theater company, an ensemble of theater artists who work together on a daily basis, year-round, to create work that has social, political significance, is exciting, has relevance to the community. And we also do a lot of work in schools and prisons and shelters, using theater as a teaching and learning tool.
One of the things that's somewhat unique about Irondale is that we have a permanent company of actors who form the main body of all the shows that we do. And over the 27 years of the company's existence, we have developed a very particularized way of working and a very definite aesthetic.
The space is our home. It's our first home in 26 years. We spent about a year and a half renovating it. And what we're trying to do here is to create a theater that is really accessible. We walked in and immediately knew this was perfect for our work. We took away the chunks in the floor. We put new flooring in. We finished the mezzanine. There's a cafe and an art gallery upstairs.
This building is such a strong character in its own right. And this church that we're in now, there is strong evidence that it was a stop on the Underground Railroad. You can't wipe it away and make this a neutral space. You have to figure out, how does this place speak to whatever it is that you're doing.
We knew this was an amazing neighborhood. We knew that the diversity of the neighborhood, the artistic history of the neighborhood, were really going to feed the work.
Fort Greene and the surrounding Brooklyn part of this is it's just rich with all sorts of things. And so we wanted to develop a piece based on that. It's called A People's History of Fort Greene. So our hopes were that by getting people to talk about their Fort Greene and what their experiences were, that we could learn how we could be not a community theater exactly, but a theater of the community that is doing work that has meaning for the people that are living here. The productions that we do, they vary from reinterpretations of classics to new pieces that the company figures out together. We've had an interest for a while in trying to figure out how do documentary techniques, which are very common, we think of in film all the time, but how does that relate to something that is viable on the stage?
Who are you?
I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I knew who I was when I woke up this morning.
Then we started just exploring the form of using historical characters, often in a fictional situation, to counterpoint what they were talking about. The Irondale Young Company is a very exciting project. It's something that I've been very hands-on involved with from the beginning. It's a group of really wonderful Brooklyn High School students. And the group varies in size between 7 and 15, depending on what project we're working on. We were doing a production based on Alice in Wonderland, which was developed completely with the professional company. Then we started feeding in the young company actors into roles that were being played. So the adult actors would literally teach them the moves, teach them what each part was about. And it was a really exciting project.
What we do on stage, what we do in the community, what we do in the schools, tells us how we have to raise the money and run the business. In some ways, you could call it a real people's theater, that there's no separation between the art form and the daily life of the community. That people come here to be challenged, to think through problems through a theatrical format. In this company, the art always leads.
Mikado is doing a piece about gentrification issues in the museum, and they called us up a couple months ago and said, you know, we didn't get to see your piece last spring, but we've heard really good things about it. Could you put an evening back together? And I think actually the material is better because of the limitations that they were placing. It's much clearer in some things that didn't seem to quite fit. We're also working on another project right now with Weeksville and the Brooklyn Historical Society, which is treating the history of the abolition movement in Brooklyn.
I'll be happy to, Blake. Just go ahead.
Being in an ensemble is a little bit different than being in a more traditional theater company in that we really all share all jobs. There's no decision that's made unilaterally. The more people who come share this work with us, the better chance we have of surviving. The Irondale Center is at 85 South Oxford Street, between Fulton and Lafayette. You can take almost any train in New York to get here. And you can find out what we're doing by going to www.irondale.org on the web, and you can get onto our mailing list, or you can see what's coming up next.
Brooklyn Independent Television on the BCAT TV network.